What's going on, friends? Budgets can be a real buzzkill these days, but that doesn't mean you still can't party with your Harley-Davidson motorcycle. Today, I've got 5 things that can actually save you some money, and we might be able to forego a few things that you could do to save a little cash when you're hopping up your Harley-Davidson motorcycle. New parts wear out old parts, but in some cases and certain situations, you could actually still add some solid performance on your Harley-Davidson. I am a big fan of doing everything at once and going all out on your bike when it comes to hopping up a Harley. But I understand these days, budgets just don't really allow for that anymore. Now, I understand everybody's probably already got a set of exhaust, an air cleaner, and hopefully an EFI tuner on their bike that you like and you're already happy with. Cam swaps for a Harley are still the absolute biggest bang for the buck. You can't beat them for the money. But the issue with cam swaps is all the other things that go along with it while you're in the engine. While you've got that engine opened up, it's a great time to do this, or it's a great time to do that. While we're in there, let's just get it all done at once, and basically you've successfully blown your budget in no time. Now, for sure, there are some things when we do this that we could probably forego, still get away with it, still be safe, and still have a good time with it. Now, of course, there are some things that we can't overlook, and we're going to get to that a little later on in the video. Guys, please don't forget, you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button, and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Now, number one, when you're cracking into the cam chest and you're going to swap that cam out, one thing that we don't necessarily need is we don't really have to upgrade the cam plate. You don't necessarily need a race plate in there if you're just riding on the street and cruising, especially considering that pretty much every race plate out there, unless the fueling OE, requires the crank run out to be about 5 thousandths or less. Now, I don't know many cranks built after 2003 in Harley-Davidson motorcycles that are stock that are actually going to be at or below 5 thousandths worth of run out. Now, number 2 is going to be the high volume oil pump. Yes, these are great. I love to see them in there with the new cam installation, but it's not 100% necessary. The stock oil pump is going to provide more than enough oil flow and pressure to be safe with a bolt-in cam. I do like to see aftermarket oil pumps go in there, especially high volume ones, just for peace of mind, a little added insurance. But in the name of saving money, that's something we could forego. This is a really painful video for me to make because when we get in there and do this, I like to see everything done at once. Like I said, it's just insurance. But this video is about doing it on a budget, so we want to do this not as cheaply as possible. We'll say as budget friendly as possible without shelling an engine. Number 3 is going to be lifters. I like to see new rollers on top of fresh cam lobes. That for me is just personal, and even a set of upgraded lifters, high performance aftermarket lifters, that's even better. Now, you definitely can inspect your old lifters, check the rollers, make sure they're rolling free, check for wear spots. You don't want any flat spots or any signs of any kind of wear whatsoever. Also inspect your cam lobes for the same thing. That'll tell you a lot. Definitely make sure the rollers are at least free and not binding, and obviously you weren't having any lifter ticking or problems before you took the bike apart. Number 4 is the push rods. When it comes to the push rods, especially if you're doing it yourself and you don't mind taking the time to actually pull the heads off, you could reuse the push rods. But I will caution you with that, is with a lot of bolt-in cams, they actually do require adjustable push rods, so something to be aware of there. Now, when it comes to reusing the push rods, especially if you could go back with adjustables, yes, it's a little bit more money, and if you're not doing it yourself, or even if you're doing it yourself, the cost of the gaskets or the money you'd be paying in labor having somebody to do it, that's a little bit more involved than just cutting the old solid push rods out and going back with a set of stock ones. Now, number 5 is shots fired and playing with fire here. Reusing your cam bearings. You can actually save so much money by doing this, it's almost not even worth it. Now, at this point, you might as well get out the good old handy gasket maker and just reuse the gaskets that you can that came off the bike. Because, hey, at this point, we're really saving a ton of money here, so why stop at that? Maybe even, while you're at it, just reuse the oil and filter that came out of the bike. But I can guarantee you're almost to the point that you have exponentially increased your chances of roaching those new cams you just put in there, or maybe even destroying the motor altogether. Okay guys, I'll admit we really got down in the weeds on cost savings when it comes to camshafts here. But in all honesty, out of the 5 items on this list, I would stop at about number 3 on things that you're not going to do. Adjustable push rods are going to save you time and money, and they're going to cost exponentially less than a gasket set or paying the labor to actually pull the heads and reuse the old push rods. It's going to be worth popping for the extra money when it comes to getting a nice set of adjustables in there. Now, cam bearings, please don't reuse those. They are too cheap and motors are too expensive to not actually replace them. I wouldn't even reuse cam bearings unless it was a brand new motorcycle with almost 0 miles on it. Even if it had 5,000 miles on them, as cheap as they are, take the time to replace them. I would, even at 5, maybe 10,000 miles. They're too cheap to risk your motor on. I won't even get into why you don't want to reuse the oil that just came out of the bike, even if it's pretty fresh, even with the filter. Maybe in an emergency situation, and I'm sure you all know somebody that's maybe done that at one point in time. Yes, it was my own stuff, and yes, it was an emergency. There's for sure a limit as to how much we can actually shave off the cost when it comes to doing the best bang for the buck in a cam swap. Now, eliminating that performance cam plate and high volume oil pump, and maybe even the set of performance lifters, if your lifters are good and you go back with them, that right there can shave almost $1,000 off the job just in parts alone. Probably not going to save you anything in labor because you're already there and everything in there's got to come out anyhow. But anyhow, you're saving about $1,000 when it comes to just leaving those parts out. Now, I can already hear the Evo guys already typing away in the comments. I know how to solve that problem. Just go out and buy an Evo and get rid of that Milwaukee 8 or that twin cam. Well, guys, I don't want to leave you out of this discussion today. When it comes to Evos and cam swaps, surely there's a lot less to do in there. You got one cam bearing, you got one cam, but you guys are for sure going to want to put in a set of lifters because Evos absolutely roach lifters between 30 and 40,000 miles. Then you add a higher lift cam in there, and it's just going to exacerbate that. So if you're running an Evo, take the time to get a set of high performance lifters for it. You'll thank yourself in the long run for it. Now for the Milwaukee 8 and the twin cam guys, cam bearings, change your tensioner or tensioner on your Milwaukee 8, and also get you a good set of adjustable push rods. It'll save you a lot of time and hassle when it comes to installing your new cam. All the rest of that, we can leave it out and we can save a few bucks in the process and keep your budget intact. So guys, I want your thoughts and stories in the comments. What little tricks have you done? What parts have you left out when doing a cam swap on a bike? Did it work? How did it go? I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to say about that, so let me know down in the comments. But anyhow guys, that's all I've got for you this week. If you guys enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Till next week guys, you stay safe on the streets, ride smart, dodge those cars. I'll catch you guys back here next week with a brand new video. Thanks for watching.